Everybody, it's Amy. I just want to let you know that I'm in the van today, and we are currently stopped in Mississippi, and we are we got here early. We're at a boondocker spot called the Hatch Pad, and it's a beautiful, beautiful spot in the middle of these woods in Mississippi. So anyway, we are here, and I have a little bit of a break, and I thought, you know what, I want to make yogurt. I know it's a weird thing, but what I've done is put a half gallon of milk in this pan, and now I'm heating it to 185 degrees. Here's the milk. And if you're wondering about that beautiful shim here, it really is. It's holding the pan so it doesn't slide. It's a very scientific method. You have to balance it on the bread. And anyway, you have to stir it a little bit so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And like I said, we have to heat it to 185 degrees, and we're going to test it here. And yes, I did bring a thermometer so I could test it, and I brought everything with me. So we're just about there, about another minute or so, and oh, there we go. We're done. It takes about 15 minutes, and I'm cooking it at 330 on the induction stove. I've turned it off. I'm giving it one more stir, and it's just going to sit there until it's 115 degrees. Okay, so now the temperature is about 113, so anywhere between 110 and 115. Think of it like when you're making bread and there's yeast. You don't want it too hot or else it'll kill it. You don't want it too cold or else it won't activate it. So what we're going to do is add something like the Good Cultures. I use the brand We, which stands for Yes in Yogurt, but I'm just going to pour this in here and whisk it in. And who doesn't have a mini whisk when they're traveling in a camper? I'm going to mix this up with this, and then I'm also, remember that vanilla bean that I put in here? I'm going to open this up. I split it down there. I'm going to scrape out this vanilla pods. Like this, and get all that goo out of the vanilla. And that's the flavoring that you get in your ice cream, that vanilla bean ice cream. It makes it so good. And in this yogurt, it's great. Also, make sure when you buy the yogurt, you have active cultures in it. And this is called your starter yogurt. Make sure you have active cultures, and there's no fruit or anything like that. Just plain or vanilla is fine. And I started doing this because I watched a YouTube video, and I thought, I bet I could do that in the camper. So we're going to whisk that all up, and then we have to let the magic happen, which happens overnight. So if I put this in about 5 o'clock, I'm going to leave it in the microwave with no power on or anything, just as a safe spot off the counter. And I'm going to leave it in the microwave until tomorrow morning. And the only thing you have to remember is that it's in there. Whoa.
And why are you leaving it in the microwave?
It has to just incubate and
any closed
do
space?
its anything. Any closed, tight space.
Oven, if we were at home, would you be just using the oven?
Maybe with the oven light on. That would be great. And because you're doing this, make a little slap bracelet if you have one. And it says yogurt on it. That way tomorrow you don't drive with it in there and it falls out. So I'm not saying you're going to wear it. I'm going to say I'm going to put it on the steering wheel of the car when Rob drives. I also have one for awning, electric, water, and I have a couple other ones of little reminders to use around the camp. This hint was given to me by somebody on our Facebook group, and I think it's great, but I have yogurt. I was going to write one with Don't Forget Rob, but I didn't use it. Hi there. It's the next morning. Haven't even had our coffee yet, but we're going on an early adventure today, driving hard while Rob works. So in here, if you remember, sorry, to get out the lid first, sorry. And in here is our yogurt. Ooh, look at that. I never know what I'm going to get. That's the vanilla in there with the thing, with the yogurt. And if you look at the liquid, that's the whey. And you have to strain that out. So I have the produce bag that's fine filtered. And I have my strainer, which I will give you the link. Best strainer in the world, works for pasta and everything. And it also serves as a basket to put our sunscreen and bug spray in. But anyway, it's multifunctional, has handles. But now what we're going to do is plop this in here. And this is going to strain while we're driving, and that little jiggling is probably, hopefully, going to help. And I'm not allowing the whey to go down the sink because I think that would smell overall. I still had the vanilla bean in there and I'll worry about that later. But we're going to do this, just throw the pan to be washed later because we're on our way. And I'm collecting the whey in my little dish pan. And it's just going to collect, and I'll show you that later. But after it sits in the microwave, you can leave it in there anytime between 12 and 24 hours. It depends on the texture you want and the flavoring. The longer you leave it, the more sour your yogurt. All right, so the drive was uneventful but bumpy, which is great. So I filtered out all the whey, and you can see what's about the amount here. It's about 2 cups. And if you leave that in there and don't do a good job filtering, it will be sour. So now I'm just going to toss it here in the grass. And as you can see, it's dripping a little bit. That's just going to sit in there for a minute, and then I'll finish it up in a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm finally back inside the camper. I'm going to take this bag with the yogurt in it and just dump it back into the original pan. I did not wash the pan because, you know, we are just kind of traveling and kind of on the road. So I'm taking this minute or two, putting it in here. And then I'm going to add flavorings to taste. So it'll be honey. I add about 1/4 cup of honey. And I don't have to do vanilla, but I don't use much sugar. I do that, and then I'll put some strawberries in the container at a later time. Okay, I've now taken the bag and I put it upside down and put it back into the original pan. So I turned it upside down, squeezed it all out, and now I'm ready to add the honey. And I add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup for this much in here. About, you know, when I use the 1/2 gallon of milk, I add about that much. Whisk it again, and it's ready to go. I will take out the bean before I put it in jars, but in this case, I'm just going to put it in a Tupperware container and stick it in the fridge. But it's nice and thick and it will taste delicious. After you put it in the fridge for a little bit, it will thicken to traditional yogurt. So it looks like traditional yogurt. So now's the best part. You can add, in this case, Texas pecans from my sister-in-law at Christmas, fresh strawberries that we bought in Alabama, and Bucky's vanilla almond granola bites. Now it's time to enjoy.